So guys, for this recipe we're going to be doing a basic risotto, and I'll explain a few things about how to cook a good risotto as we go through. But the first thing I would like you to do is to fry off your mushroom, bacon and chicken. So put a little bit of oil in your pan and do your mushroom first. And once the food is fried, then I'm going to get you to put it into a separate bowl. We'll cover it with some foil and we'll put it aside until we're ready to use it a bit later. Okay, once your mushrooms have been sauteed, then pop them into a bowl. Alright, bacon can go straight in with your mushroom. We're going to fry our chicken off as well. Alright, so once your chicken's done, pop it straight in to the bowl with your mushroom and bacon. And then just put your foil over the top and pop it in the oven to keep it warm while you get your risotto done as well. So to sweat onion, we just pop a lid on, and what that does is it cooks it, but it essentially steams it in its own fat, okay? Important to check regularly so that you're making sure that your onion isn't overcooking and not turning brown. So I would say mine's ready now. We can add our rice in. So you can see that I haven't burnt any of my onion, and that's important because we really don't want brown burnt bits of onion coming through our risotto rice. We really want the onion to be the same colour as the rice, so you shouldn't be able to see the onion in your risotto. Okay, so make sure you stir your rice as soon as you put it into your frying pan with the onion. Give it a really good stir. We need to coat all of the rice in the oil. Now the reason why we're using a short grain rice called a borio rice is because it has a much higher starch content. The higher the starch content, the better it is for risotto. So what happens is by heating the rice, we're breaking open the starch in the rice, which allows the liquid to be absorbed once we start adding the liquid, which is what we call the process of gelatinization. So this is a really important step, to be stirring your rice on the heat without really much liquid at all. So once you've done that, then you can add your white wine, and we allow that to reduce. So what that means is all of the liquid should disappear before we start adding our stock in. Now make sure your heat's on medium to high. If it's too hot, it will burn. So once you're at this point, then you can start adding your stock. But it's important that your stock is boiling hot. If you use warm stock or cold stock, the water won't be absorbed by the rice, and therefore you're not going to have the gelatinization process take place, and you won't have a good risotto. Now when we're doing it, we add about a ladle at a time, or about a cup at a time. And then we stir that in. Now we don't add the next lot of water until all of this water has been absorbed. So with a risotto, another important thing to do is to keep stirring. If you just let it sit and I guess essentially boil, it's going to stick and it's not going to break open the starch, and therefore it won't absorb the liquid. So we need to constantly stir until that liquid has been absorbed. If you add your liquid too quickly when you're doing your risotto, you'll find that you'll run out of water really quickly, but your rice will still be really hard in the middle. So again, that's another reason why we need to make sure we let the water be absorbed by the rice before we add the next lot. All right, when it's nearly done, you can toss through your different flavorings. So you guys will be using basil, fresh basil and baby spinach. I'm just using some dried basil and some fresh thyme. Don't forget to season with salt and pepper. Very, very important for a risotto, just to help bring out those extra flavors that you have coming through. So the way that we check our rice is by taking a piece of green off your wooden spoon and squeezing it between your two fingers. And like pasta, we refer to that as being al dente. So once it's done, then you can just turn your heat down and grab your chicken, bacon and mushroom, and we'll mix that through. Okay, once you've mixed that through, then you can add in some Parmesan cheese, and make sure you leave a little bit for the top as well. Alrighty guys, so once your risotto is done, then it's up to you how you'd like to plate it. I've chosen, I guess, quite a simple design where I've used a cookie mold, and I've just filled my cookie mold with some of the risotto rice and then put a little bit of shaved Parmesan on top and just a little bit of green to make it pop.